all these different ones, so got to shut off one. I'm streaming on my other channel, but this is going to be the show where we talk about NFTs and smart contracts with Doc and Brent. This is episode 5. All right. So again, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. And we're going to be talking about everything where we're going to talk about Nansen, DOA, and all of those things. Before we get started, Brent, how are we doing?
We are good. There's a lot of amazing things happening in the NFT space. So I hope you all listen. This is revolutionary information, especially when we go into the DOA concept and really doing a deep dive. So check it out, share it. And if you have questions for us, please post the questions, because if we don't know your questions, we can't answer your questions.
There we go. So that is excellent. So we're going to go right into it. We're going to talk about these two platforms. Well, we're going to talk about one platform, then we're going to talk about what a DOA is, all of those things. So we're going to get right into it. So let me share my screen, do that over there, my window. There we go. Okay. So I think I've talked about this briefly a couple of times, but we're going to do a deep dive. But it's called Nansen. It allows you to identify opportunities, what's going on in blockchain. So it allows you to look at different wallets, look at what's going on. But one thing I will say is we'll talk about why we're looking at it. I will just say you'll need, if you want to know how to use it, number one, watch their office hours. But if you want to know how you can use it for your own case, make sure you join the Discord group or in the comment section down below. We're going to be having a premium group where we actually walk you through it and give you that information, how it applies to you. So check that out. Remember the links down below. If you need any help with it, I'll drop the link right now in the live Q&A. But we're going to talk about Nansen. But you know what? As we're saying that, I think it's also important because that's going to be a deep dive. I also think we should talk about DOA because I think that's it, because it's its own industry or its an own entity. I think that's also important. So we're going to give the definition of what a DOA is, and then we're going to go and talk about it. So that's one of mine I'm in. So a DOA, what is it? So it's a decentralized anonymous organization that runs on the blockchain technology. Okay, so you might have seen them pop up in the last 2 years or so. They've been becoming popular in the last really 6 months to 8 months. Those are ones that are some certain DOAs are going for $500,000 to get in. There's also DOAs where you can, like, say, for instance, you can even do something like fantasy football, but instead of doing fantasy football, you're now playing with former athletes such as Tiki Barber from the New York Giants, different things like that. So it's almost like a blending of what's going on with entertainment and then also having the access to a lot of different celebrities or ones that you're interested in. And it doesn't just have to be a organization where you're, with a celebrity. For example, one of the DOAs I'm in is developer one, where all you're doing is you're getting access to ones that are building Web3 projects, what they're doing, all of those things, and then learning. So it kind of depends on the interest that you have. But there's something to go from there. So, Brent, I'll let you decide. Do you want to talk about DOAs or you want me to talk about Nansen, or which one should we dive into first?
Yeah, let's go into DOAs. And for anybody watching who's coming from, because we're talking about the NFT and cryptocurrency the smart contract space as it relates to investing and growing and understanding. So if anybody is watching this who came from an investing background, I would liken a DOA or DAO to a SPAC. And for anybody who's not familiar, SPACs are special purpose acquisition company. And special purpose acquisition company is a bunch of people who put money together and they really don't know what they're going to buy in the future or exactly what they're going to use the money for, but the money is there to be used. Not all DOAs work like this, but to give you just an easy way to understand it, or fund if you're, again, coming from the investment world. So sometimes people pool their resources, i.e. money, to buy things or to run a business. Some DOAs work similarly to that. It is a pooling of resources to run a basically automated business.
That was a really good summary. Yeah, I love it. And that's exactly right. When you have something like this, now you can do whatever you like, right? So I'm in I'll show you a couple that I'm in. So I'm in like developer one where they're pulling their resources, not just buying things. Maybe it's doing certain projects or something like that. So I'm in this one. I'm also in Knights of Degen, Knights of Degen. And then that is basically not only are they looking at what's going on in sports and things, but like sometimes they'll buy different NFTs or they just bought part of a company. And then so because I was part of this, then I have voting rights of what are we going to do with that company? What are they doing buying and selling and things like this? And they also have live events. So like last night, they were in New York, they're in Brooklyn, and then they had that. So and they have a tavern in Wild World. So it's a mixture of a lot of different things.
Real quick, Doc, when you join these groups, these DOAs, is every DOA cost money to get in?
Not necessarily, but almost all of them do. So I'll put it this way: not necessarily. For example, if you're bringing a skill, if you're looking for someone that, hey, I'm a writer, hey, I'm this, hey, I would love to help with the newsletter. There are some DOAs that will be like, yeah, we need this. We need someone to manage the community. And they'll either give you a token or they'll give you something to make sure that you're associated. They'll just airdrop it, but not necessarily. But the bigger groups, definitely, but not all the time. But I would say it's more than just like, oh, can I please get in? They're like, no, you better come with a skill and something that the audience needs for them to give you access, but not all the time, not 100% of the time.
Okay.
That's a really good question. Let's see. Hold on one second. I am refreshing for a moment. Hold on one second. Technology, you know how it is. There we are. Okay, yeah. It was just it was supposed to be syncing, but it's on. Anyway, so we're good with that. Oh, someone's asking in Twitch, what is a DOA? So that's a really good question. So we were talking about before. So it is a decentralized, anonymous organization that runs on the blockchain, right? So a DOA can be just basically exactly what Brent said earlier, where you're pulling your resources together to do something. So there's tons of different ones. I'm in a few, Knights of Degen. There's developer, DOA. I'll probably be in the Friends with Benefits one. There's just tons of different ones. And again, it depends on the exact kind of interest group that you're in. I'm going to show you one. It's not, I guess it's kind of a DOA, but
and real quick, just to add on to that, also DOAs work like, imagine a company, right? A company has a board of directors. They meet with the board, and the board makes decisions based on their voting shares. And those voting shares then determine whose decisions get executed. And once that just creates a list, right? So now you have a list of everything they voted on, what they want to do. And now they're supposed to go execute. Now, where DOA's kind of different from a traditional business is right there. It's the fork in the road, where you're dealing with human follow through. Let's call it that. And they have to accomplish each of the things on the list. It might happen, it might not happen based off these human interactions. DOAs are all automated. So because they're automated and they're autonomous, and based off these smart contracts inside of them, as soon as these terms are met, the code says, okay, now we're doing the next thing. So you take out that human element where, sometimes you can be biased. And also from a voting standpoint, all the information is secret unless you're part of the DOA. And even to request the information, whatever, you have to have a majority of the tokens. And so if you don't have a majority, then you can make a request. But again, it's just like voting shares inside of a stock. A person that owns like 2 shares of Microsoft is not walking into the board meeting saying, no one, they're not getting into the board meeting. But if they did get in, they can't make these requests or demands. DOAs work very similar to that.
And that's a good question. So say, for instance, depending on what you're doing in the DOA, you might, number one, some DOAs, all you need is one token to get in or one thing that you're paying for. For example, I can get an NFT and that's going to be my token to get into that group, right? So I'll show you in a second like in my OpenSea account, like it looks like nonsensical. But when I go into the group, they know that that is legit. So hold on one second. Let me look at this for a second. I'll bring it up. Where is it? Okay. So if you're looking at this, right? So this is their NFT. Now you're seeing like to you, it's like, why would you all put this together? Well, this is Windows Vista. It's a developer group. So they're doing all these random things that's already auto-generated. They made a certain amount of tokens or NFTs to get into the DOA. So because I bought this, then you go into that, right? So they're using an NFT. Now, looking on the other side, like what I'm about to join, which they just changed all their stuff, Friends with Benefits, you can see that their whole thing, their whole entity, not only are they a DOA, but now they're also, again, right here, you're already getting a cryptocurrency that they own, right? So it's another layer of it. And so some are just NFTs to give you access. Some are how many tokens that they decide to have in that community. Every single one is totally different, right? So it's just, again, what's going on with the DOA that you want to be involved. They all have different protocols. They all have different
functions.
Yeah, things to do. So that's one. Nights to Degen is another one that's holding a certain NFT. And then there's another one too. I'm not sure if you've seen this one, Brent, but like then you have like Party Bid, right? So Party Bid, again, you see a Party DOA production. We're voting and we're being able to buy something right here. I hate their layout, but anyway, that's just me. So if you're looking at this, right, we can all get on funds to be able to buy something, right? So these are all different NFTs. You see how much different ones are. Everyone can pull their, look at this. So this is a rabbit hole DOA. This DOA was, I think this was either, do they have, I'm going to see if they have a price on this. I was going to see if I was going to get in on that, but I just missed it.
For 8 Ethereum?
Final bid, 99.
99
Yeah.
Ether.
Yeah, so someone already, another group or another person already bought this. So this is just to have an access of this DOA. That's a $500,000. $500,000. You see the difference? Like this is not a game. Like this is what I'm saying. Like this group, see the bidding pool, they pulled together 6.6. They're like, okay, we could do, nope. They got outbid. They got outbid for a $500,000. And that's just one group.
So this would be my question to you, Doc. Once you get into these DOAs, right? The way I look at it is their investment pools. And being part of it, you get some of the profits from being part of it. Is that accurate?
Yeah, that's pretty accurate. It depends on necessarily, let me back up. Depends on what the DOA is for, right? Because it's sometimes it's pulling money or pulling assets. Sometimes it's just, some people are in DOAs just to have access to a certain network to do certain things. For the majority, I would probably lean towards that, but I wouldn't say that's all it could do.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. So with this, Friends with Benefits, right? Now, I think this is interesting. And this kind of goes back to when you're looking at cryptos, like what is the use case? And you should understand the use case because not every cryptocurrency is just of importance or relevance. Some of them are just poo coins, like I'm trying to not use a certain word. But, when it comes to DOAs, is there a way to see if you're just buying the NFT to have access to the DOA, or if you're buying this NFT or just, buying the coins of the DOA to now share in the profits as it gets bigger? Is there a way to know which one it is?
You mean which DOA itself to do?
Yeah.
Like those things? Yeah. Well, you could always look at like, say the outside of like, what's the DOA even promising, right? So yeah, like different ones. Okay. So there are some DOAs like once you enter whatever you decide to do, it's a certain dividing of the profits based on a specific how many tokens you hold, how much voting rights, like you were saying. That's possible. Even like Friends with Benefits like has a way to do something like that. So if you're looking at party bid, I would say this is a more like a limited DOA in a way, because based on you deciding, you see all the different people who are, and you can look at their wallets if you want to, but if you're looking at what they're contributing, they also get out how much they put in. So if we're trying to buy this, I have more either rights when we sell it, or depending on voting rights of what you're doing with different activities. That's one way. So I would say, yeah, I would go with that. Let me hold on. We got a couple questions. Let me make sure. So all who are part of the group get a share of the NFT that are sold. That they, if they are buying that and selling the NFT. If the DOA's whole mission is buying and selling, which is like this party bid, they're trying to do it. Yeah, but think about this: they might be holding the NFT for a while. Right. So even if you're, depending on how much you have and you're contributing, you might say like, we got to sell. And if you don't have the full makeup or the majority vote, everyone might just outvote you. And then you just got to hold it anyway until they sell. So every single one, and as you can see, it's very different. Some it's audio and visual. Sometimes it's just visual. It just depends on what everyone's doing. So this particular party bid, yes, that's the structure. Depending on how much you put in, you will get that proportion out. Like they did a party bid getting crypto punks. Okay, well, I put in X amount. Well, some people only put in 0.003 ETH. Well, they still get, when they decide to sell, they still get a portion because they put in. Yeah.
And so for anybody who's, watching us and thinking, okay, so I get how it works. I'm ready to do it, or I'm thinking about doing it. Number one, you have to consider what type of money are you using? And when I say that, is the money that you're holding needed for, let's say you're buying a house soon, or you're about to pay for a car, or you can't afford to lose. That's one thing. The other piece is, if you're buying into things like this, you have to understand that you are not in control of when a liquidity event will occur. And a liquidity event would be the actual selling of. So truthfully, pay attention to the type of money you're using when you go into these, because if you're not buying a huge voting share, which, as you saw, talking like some of it could be $500,000. Not all, but just be cognizant of what you're getting into, because you might want to sell, but you get outvoted, and all of a sudden you have to hold it for maybe 2 years, 3 years. 6 months, 2 months. You don't know when you go into it. And if you don't have voting control, just be aware of that.
Yeah, that's really good. And again, there are some that, okay, like I'll give you an example. Like, so now there are some DOAs that, okay, they're buying and selling things. Others, it just might be they want to do certain initiatives and they're all put together. So they might say, hey, we're going to go after this one thing. Sometimes you could even have it as rights of, hey, we're going to pool our money, or we're going to pool our resources to sue someone. You could do that. There are some groups that, hey, we're going to pool our money because we have this many people in the group and everyone's in this DOA. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. And the reason some people like this is, again, it's anonymous. So unless, number one, yeah, I guess someone can look at their wallet, but if you don't want it, they would just open a new wallet and then join the DOA of what they want, and then they're totally anonymous. So it really depends on why people. It's really interesting why people are doing this now. It kind of goes back to, they talk about like bundling and unbundling certain things. For a while, the internet, remember, in the late 90s, everyone just used screen names. Then what happened with social media? Everyone used their real names. Guess what? It's unbundling again, where people want to be anonymous again online. Yeah. So it's interesting what's happening in this space. And again, blockchain, because you can track it, you can make sure that your money's safe or what you're doing using blockchain. It's opening up a lot of different opportunities like this.
Yeah, and it's autonomous. Not only anonymous, but it's also autonomous. Yeah. So why is that important to anybody listening? And because of this, once the rock starts rolling down the mountain, that's it. And if you choose to get on, you're just on for the ride. So you can't come in and start changing things because it is an autonomous system that is going to be triggered based off of the occurrences within that particular smart contract for the DOA. So
Yep.
just be aware of that.
That's great stuff. So again, this is what's in the market right now. If you're interested in a very specific group or something in mind, what I would do is before you just join and have, the FOMO, fear of missing out, I've got to join.
Yeah. Hold on, wait. Let me say this. I'm interrupting you on purpose. If you're about to do that and join, come to our Discord group and let's discuss it.
Yep, exactly. Yeah,
okay,
don't be running out. Thank you. Always got to do that.
Going with that.
Oh yeah. It's true. You've got to do that. You've got to do that research. You've got to understand what's happening. Or there's so many. You'll just be on a different path and have no idea what's going on. So we've got that. We can talk about Nansen. I forgot to tell you what I'm going to be doing. I think later this. Have you heard about Wilder World? Have we talked about this?
Is this the game that you're building?
This is the game where this is not that I'm building. No, this one is a group where it's basically they're building it on Unreal Engine. It's interesting what they're doing. They're first starting with like wheels, but like these are where some of these NFT rides are basically being sold for a couple thousand at the moment. This is interesting because not only are you going to be racing and doing things, but they're really trying to build out again where you can be having different cars, you can be buying stuff, you can be buying land. It's pretty interesting what they got. So again, I was in Knights of Degen. They have their own guild here. So again, I already have access of that as well because I'm in that specific DOA. Mm-hmm. So this is interesting. I'm on the watch for it, but again, they have their own token. It's different than Axie, but it's interesting what they're trying to do and build events and really meld real life events or real life locations with some of their Wilder World events. So that's something to keep in mind.
What is their coin symbol? Is it wild?
I think so. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, just wild.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. So that's something to keep in mind. So more details on that in the Discord group, but that's something to keep an eye on. Okay, so before I switch, Brent, anything that I missed?
Yeah, I mean, I think let's talk about this real quick. When people are looking at like this Wilder World and this such, there's so much information out there, and right now it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. People really don't know what's going to win 4 years out, 5 years out. And when you look at like a Wilder World, understanding what you're getting into is very, very important. Now, the reason it is because essentially there's a use case with each of these. And if you understand, number one, the community, like, is there a community that really cares about this? Or is it just your thought? Like, it seems cool, let me jump in. But you realize once you jump in, there's actually no community. Nobody else is trading this thing. No one else is investing in it. And now all of a sudden you're just on an island and your money's locked up. Join our Discord group so we can talk about these things. Then also too, if you're listening to us and you know about NFT or something that we should probably be researching, let us know what it is so we can research it and then do a show on it so we can actually, deconstruct it, reconstruct it, and determine, is this something good you should be investing your money in or not? Because a lot of them fall on the or not stage side, but you don't know unless you know. So I just wanted to kind of let you all I say that to say there are a lot of ways to get into these things. And we don't know all of them. Like some you may buy an NFT to get in, and that's your ticket. Others you can actually buy the coin, and some you can help with development of it. So, what side would you fall on? Let's talk about it.
Good times. Love it. Okay, cool. So next what we're going to be going into is we're going to be going into Nansen. So again, just like Brent was saying, Nansen, can you get it? Can you buy this? Yes. It's a couple $100 a month. I think it's like $125, something like this. Mm-hmm. What is it? Standard. quarterly. Oh, so they moved everything over to quarterly, not monthly now. Interesting. So
Every
they have
time you look at this, it changes.
yeah, it does really. I better not like stop using it because I locked in for a monthly price and it's cheaper now. Interesting. Okay, 400. Wow. Okay. So again, oh wait. Okay, I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I was like, do you
It
see how
still
they already
changed.
default it? Yeah, they did.
Yeah, but it still changed.
Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Hey, listen, people are getting rich off this thing. So, okay, so the thing that you're looking at here is talking about looking for opportunities, what's going on in the market. What I would say is again, I talked about it at the beginning of the show, if you just go and look at these dashboards in a second, you'll be lost in a heartbeat. So, if you're really interested in how this applies to you, what you're trying to do with your crypto portfolio, what you're trying to do with NFTs, this is the time to get into Discord, and that's what we talk about going through. Now, I'm going to go with an overview, and you can do the same thing if you go to the Nansen office hours. They're going to do an overview, but just to show you what's going to be in store. Of even when they do the overviews in the office hours, it's not telling you what you're looking at or how to critically think to use all these things. Okay. So when we're going over here, you can be looking at hot contracts, which you're seeing what people are doing in the transactions right now. You're looking at the hot NFTs of what's happening in real time, what NFT is really blowing up at the time. You can be seeing that. And then also too, you can be seeing the exchange flow, what's going on, the smart money token. And then you're going to be able to also, again, see what's on multi-chain, so Polygon, Phantom, all of those things. And then for NFT, you can go to NFT Paradise and NFT God mode. So again, there's a lot to this, but what I would say is it's very similar to I give this analogy when you're trying to build things with like code or no code. Like there's so many things out there. Write down on a piece of paper what you're trying to accomplish. What is your investments? What are you trying to do? So from there, then you can go into this and start going down a rabbit hole of something that works for you. And it is a rabbit hole. When you start
It
going,
is.
it's yeah, like it's not is you can't when you're on this kind of screen, you're not going to be scanning. Like if I look at this casually, this doesn't mean anything. Like what is this? It's going to take me over here. I'm going to be getting more screens. It's just going to give me more anxiety. So write down first what you're trying to do and why, and then you can start going in here. Does that make
Hey,
sense,
Doc.
Brent?
Yeah, let's do this. Let's talk offline about how to incorporate this into our trainings.
Okay.
I have some ideas on what we can do to help everybody who's in our community get a better understanding of what this is and how to use it, and then how to make money from it. So yeah, let's talk about that.
Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay, cool. So that's going to be the overview right here. Okay, so we've got all of those things down. Now, what are we going to be doing from there? We're going to just kind of do an overview of kind of checking in on some of the things we've been talking about. And then from there, again, in the comment section, let us know what you're working on, what you want to see, and then we'll kind of go from there. And Brent, we'll talk offline.
Yeah.
So the first thing is how did everything go with? We talked about it last time with the coin influencer, or the Coinfluence, that thing.
Yep.
How'd it go?
So far, did you invest in it yet?
I did. Mm-hmm.
So for me, they're already up to phase 15.
Okay.
But I cannot see how they're going to hit 100. And
Yeah.
also for me, the downside is the coins never transferred to my MetaMask account.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So did they transfer for you, or are you still talking to them?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay. So I contacted them on Twitter, and then I contacted them via Facebook, and I sent customer care because I was just like, I want to cover all my bases. But this goes back to understanding what kind of money you're using, everybody, when you're investing. And you know what, Doc, can you pull up Coinfluencer?
Yeah.
Because I think it is important for us to follow up on the phone calls that, on the investments that we talk about. So
Yeah.
Coinfluence is a platform, if this is your first time watching with us, that's actually using influencer reach to launch various coins. Their goal, and this is some of the influencers they say are connected to the platform. And until I can verify, I don't know. I'm sticking to that. And so right now, what they're trying to do is say a new coin is launching or somebody's launching NFT or whatever it might be. They're saying, come to us. We are then going to use our collective reach of our influencers to make sure your launch is profitable and expansive. Now, for that, they take a little fee, and all of the coin holders who were early investors are essentially supposed to get a little fee of that fee, a little piece of that fee. Similar to what we just talked about in the DOA space, the amount you receive is going to be based off the number or the size, percentage ownership or percentage number of coins that you have. So if you have like 0.00003% of all the coins in existence, when the fee is split up or the amount is supposed to be shared, you're going to get 0.0003% of what's being shared. Personally, we thought it's a really good platform, but what Doc and I want to do is shield all of you all from issues. So we both invested in it, and we're going through the process of now having our coins transferred to our respective MetaMask account. You all, it still looks good. Understand that this is an illiquid investment right now, because once you invest your money in it, you don't know how long it's going to take for them to either get the coins to you, or once you finally get the coins to you, if you decide to sell, there has to be a secondary market of interest in those coins. So there's a buyer on the other end. And we don't know, how that buyer market is going to look once they go quote unquote public. So, very interesting project. Clearly if Doc and I have invested in it, it has some legs, but just be careful when you're going into something like this, because you don't know.
Yeah. What I basically looked at was I put in a couple $100, and the downside was the same thing is I was like, okay, if I lose all of it, am I okay with it? That's basically how I went in. The upside of if they do what they say they're going to do, okay, it's going to return on it. But exactly like what Brent was saying, make sure that you're looking at what's right for you investing and going from this. The other thing is actually, which is on my channel that I just put out. I think I told you about this, Brent. Did I tell you that I was buying like Amazon return pallets? Did I tell you about that?
No.
Okay, so, and there's a reason, there's a connection.
The ones that get returned and nobody claimed them.
Exactly. So you can actually buy for them wholesale of because they just don't want to restock. They do not want to restock. So you can just buy pallets. They're like 5 to 7 feet. You can just buy return items, and then you can just flip them. So of course Jay is on eBay and doing his thing. So he already has his store. So I was like, let me just buy these and then we'll just flip. Right. So the reason I say that is, okay, these pallets for $700. We already there was 15 items. We sold 2 already. It's already $200. So to me, I'm like, okay, I didn't expect to flip them that quickly. Jay was expecting to flip them in a week. And I was like, there's no way that you're going to flip 15 items in a week. I just don't see that happening. But he's like, okay, but already $700 in, $200 return already off of 2 items.
Yeah.
So to me, it's a longer game. I'm like, even if it takes a year, I'm like, it's already profitable right there. So I see a lot of times when people are after NFTs or crypto, they want that instant, that they get that. What is that? I always forget that coin that popped off. It's, you know what I'm saying? It's the dog. It's the Japanese dog.
Yeah. Shiba Inu.
Thank you. So you've got that, but people are like, oh, that meme coin, I need to go get it. Well, guess what? There's 17 to 38 different meme coins. Are you going to just think about what you're doing with your time and energy and not get caught up in the emotion of all these things that you're seeing constantly on your radar.
Yeah, no, that's a great point, because Shiba Inu, many people ran to it with no idea what it was, sold prematurely, sold or bought prematurely, sold prematurely. It's just a whole lot going on, which is why we created, NFT and smart contracts with Doc and Brent. We wanted to give you all a platform that you can kind of bounce some of the stuff off before you just dive in. And let's just call it what it is, do something silly. And so if you all are out there, you're listening, you're sharing this information, and you're thinking, how do I join you all's Discord group? I want to go deeper. Doc can share. I think he already shared the link. And, once you sign up, we have to do our part and start giving you value. And that can only happen when you tell us exactly what you're looking to know or what you want to get from being part of the Discord group and our ecosystem as a whole. Because what we're doing now, we're on episode 5. This thing is going to evolve in a way that I don't even think Doc knows yet. Notice I say Doc, I didn't say we. So, because I have a master plan in my head. But it's cool. Doc he's one of the best. And when I met Doc, I knew it from when I first met him. And I am really good at understanding money. So between the two of us, you want to be in this community because we also have made a commitment that we're going to start moving towards helping you all understanding where the opportunity lies in this space. And it's a lot of opportunity in this space. So,
yeah. Excellent. Well, everybody, again, we'll be back next week. We'll be talking about all things smart contracts and NFTs. Remember, in the comment section down below, make sure that you reach out and you join the Discord group. And if you have any questions, you're trying to buy something, you're trying to sell something, you have questions on what's on the market, going all those things, make sure you let us know. And if you like this kind of content, we do this every single week. Make sure that you like and subscribe to the channel, and we will see all of you next week.